to Growing Younger Health and Fitness podcast designed for people over 40.
Alright guys, so today's podcast today is really about one of our clients who's decided that she's going to jump on the recording with us and just tell you about her story, which is it's quite a powerful story. It basically comes around the time where she had a very serious car crash and spent a significant amount of time in hospital. So I'm not going to spoil it too much. So I'm going to pass you over to Jan, and she's going to spend the next 20 to 30 minutes with you explaining her journey and how she stays motivated. And I'm sure that you're going to get some really good pieces of advice from this for yourself and your own current fitness journey. So over to Jan.
Hello guys, Gavin and Alex here again with another podcast on the topic of health and fitness for people over 40. And today we're excited to bring you a very interesting and kind of relevant topic for discussion, which is how do you get motivated? Like motivation. How do you sustain your commitment to being healthier and exercising, losing weight if that's what you're trying to do? So Gavin and I are going to talk about motivation.
Cool. All right, guys. So this really is quite pertinent. So I did a poll in our Facebook group just last week, and it was like 65% of people don't exercise and eat healthy and lose weight because they're not motivated. And I think it's quite a sad place to be, that people are basically sicker, most overweight and healthiest they've ever been just because they're not motivated to do stuff. So there's a kind of a process that we go through here at Growing Younger when we onboard our clients, and really it's about motivation, and we call it like our accountability sort of system. So what we do today, we talk about a couple of things and about how I help our clients stay motivated. Maybe a couple of these things will resonate with you and you take some tips and advice, and hopefully it helps a little bit. So I think the first one really comes down to setting realistic goals. What we tend to find is that people come to us and they want to lose like 50, 60 kilos, and they want to get fit and everything else, and they want it to be done yesterday. They don't really understand that this thing takes time. And what you find is that people want too much too soon, and ultimately they really struggle with the lack of results in the short term. But I think a lot of people they underestimate what they can do in the short term, or overestimate what they can do in the short term, and underestimate what they can do in a long time. So if you think of, in 12 months time, if you had a really conservative goal and say you lost half a kilo a week for 52 weeks of the year, you could lose a significant amount of weight, and you do it way quicker than a year as well. It's just setting a realistic goal around what you want to achieve. I mean, what would you think about that?
Absolutely, 100%. So I think one of the big pitfalls of with setting goals is people they'll write them down on a piece of paper, they'll put them in a drawer, and that's the last time they see the goal. So you really, for the goals to be helpful, they need to be looked at. You need to actually check with your goals almost pretty much on a daily basis. And the best time to do it is either first thing in the morning when you get up, or before you go to bed, or if you want to be even better, you could do both in morning and night. It will it will actually kind of enter your subconscious mind, and it will help you to make the right decisions on a day-to-day basis that will align with the goals that you have. So it's very important to keep looking at those goals. Don't just write them and just forget about them.
And that's exactly what we do. Like when we onboard somebody, one of the first things to go through is what are your goals and why are they important to you. So I guess the next thing really is that when you do make a goal, make it the reason why really sort of emotional and powerful for you to do that. So when you say what is your why, it's well, why do you want to do it? And you gotta go peel the layers off a little bit. So if you say I want to lose 5 kilos or 10 kilos or 30 kilos, but why though? And you say to fit into my clothes or something else. But that's not the real reason. There's something that they call the 5 why principle, and it's about problem solving. So why do you want to lose 10 kilos? I want to fit into my clothes. But why do you want to lose weight to fit into your clothes? Oh, and then they'll be like, well, I don't like the way I look. Well, why don't you like the way you look? And you'll be like, well, my husband doesn't find me attractive, or my wife doesn't find me attractive. And then all of a sudden you go through that process, and then you get a really sort of emotional goal as to why you want to lose that weight in the first place. And when you go into those lower levels, it's more meaningful. Therefore, you're more likely to act on those goals. And that's a really important thing as well. So not only have a goal that you read twice a day, like Alex said, is to make the goal more emotional as to why you want to achieve it. Because if it's a superficial goal, then you're unlikely to stick to it long term, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one of the most common whys that we come across with our clients is something to do with family. Like people say things like, I want to be a good example for my kids or grandkids, or even like, spend good quality time with my grandkids. I don't want to be one of those grandparents that just struggles along and really has a difficult time keeping up. So, I think family can be a really, really powerful why. Not the only one, but family can be a really good one.
On that as well, like I had a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about like why you want to do it, and it was interesting to what they said was that they didn't really care about themselves that much. They said, I don't care if I have a heart attack, and this person had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, but she goes, what I do care about is leaving my daughter behind. So that was her emotional why. We went through this a little bit, and like that's her focus and motivation for her to make a healthier lifestyle. So it's really important to get to that why. Scratch that back a little bit and figure out.
Because realistically, there will be days when, like, whatever your plan is, but there will be days when you have difficulty getting out of bed because you just don't feel like doing anything. And this is when you think back to your why. Your why will get you out of bed. It will get you to do the right things.
There was I was listening to a podcast the other day about it, and what people tend to do is they when you got this goal and you got this why, what people tend to do is they focus more on the long-term goal. And it's like if you're going to climb Mount Everest, for argument's sake, it's a massive goal to achieve, but what you need to do is break it down into the daily actionable things and skills that you must do, like preparing your meal or choosing fruit over chocolate and things like that. It's those things you got to focus on more than the big thing, because those things over time will compound to get you to your big result. So yes, you got to have that goal. Yes, you got to be realistic, and yes, you got to have a powerful why. But then you switch focus from the big goal to just knocking over simple daily goals that you can achieve every single day. And once you get through those, like 6 months of that, of eating those little healthy meals and exercising for 20 minutes a day, all that will compound, and that's going to be you're going to have a lot easier time sticking to something like that than always trying to think that this mountain is too big to climb.
Cool. What's another way to stay motivated? I think actually I'll just bring something up as well. Is one thing that we do see a lot with our clients is when someone comes and says, "Look, I've got an impending event. I've got a wedding in whatever it is, 6 months, 1 year down the track, or I've got a holiday coming up, and we're going to travel to Europe or Africa or somewhere like that, and they're going to do a lot of walking, a lot of climbing mountains or whatever it is." Remember we had a couple who wanted to go to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that kind of thing, because it's very specific, which is what the goal should be, and it's also, I guess, emotional to a degree because you're really looking forward to it. It creates like a very vivid image of you in your head. Like, okay, this is what you really want to look good for the wedding, or you really want to be fit for the holiday. I think that really helps to achieve a good result. Just having that deadline, I suppose.
That's right. And I guess there's two things at play. So you got intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation. So like intrinsic motivation is, I guess, like what Alex was saying, is to be fit and healthy to do something you've always wanted to do. And if you're approaching retirement, for argument's sake, you don't want to be unhealthy and not even fit enough to enjoy it. So that's more of an intrinsic thing. Then you got extrinsic rewards, where some people will do it for like a cash prize and stuff as well. So you got to kind of use both of those things to get you motivated. So sometimes it could be a short-term thing that you might win an award or win an event at work doing a weight loss challenge or something. But then once that's over, then you've got to look a little bit deeper for the long term, and find an intrinsic motivation, which is more internal, which is what the why is, to get you going. So yeah, they all work. You just got to be able to switch back and forth to get the best out of it, because you don't want to start and then just stop. The whole thing of it is to stay fit and healthy forever, not just for 6 weeks, isn't it? Cool.
Anything else you think that?
I think one more thing, I guess, before we shut off is like when you do these things all the time, right? You gotta, like, we call it pat the dog. It's just like, reward yourself. So if you if a puppy doesn't wee in the living room, then you sort of reward the puppy and pat the puppy, right? So even if it's a small thing, you gotta reward yourself for the things as well, because like Alex and I were talking this morning actually about this kind of thing, is that sometimes you forget how far you've come. And it's easy to look up what's ahead and not think about how far you come. So every time you get to a milestone, whether it be a little habit that you've ticked off, I don't know, you've eaten like 5 healthy lunches for the week or something, you'll reward yourself with something, and not necessarily food, because again, you don't want to be cementing that habit, but do something, watch a film or go for dinner or something, whatever. But you've got to reward yourself as you go through as well, because life's too short, I think, to be like slamming away and whatever else. So
celebrate your wins.
Yeah, 100%.
I love the way you say it sometimes, because I can overhear it. Like when someone comes and they've been with us for maybe 3-4 weeks, and they say, "Oh, but I only lost 2 or 3 kilos," and then you say, "But think of it this way: it's like 4 slabs of butter that you were carrying under your shirt." And then when you put it that way, it's like, wow, actually, I've actually done okay.
That's it, yeah.
So always think positive. That's cool. All right.
That's good. Yes, I think that's us, isn't it? That's a really good little snippet of how to stay motivated. Hopefully it helps.
Fantastic. All right, we'll speak to you guys on the next one.
Take it easy. Bye. Okay guys, so I hope you found the podcast of value. If you did and you're struggling with your own health and fitness journey, there's a link in the description for a free discovery call with me. And that free discovery call, we're going to cover off a little bit about you, your history, your goals, what you want to achieve, and maybe we can help you or not with your own health and fitness goal. So if that does sound like something that you'd like to do, then click on the link in the description, and I look forward to chatting to you in the very near future. Have a good day guys, bye bye.